Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here in round 4. We have Apollo Hageman versus Elias Ryans. Both of them were staying at my place tonight, and these players are ready to play each other. Honestly, we are seeing a horse match. We are gonna see Calyrex Shadow Rider, Calyrex Ice Rider right now versus each other. Elias rocking it with the Calyrex Ice Rider, and Apollo is rocking the Cali Shadow. So let's take a look at their teams. Looking at their teams, we have the Calyrex Shadow Rider with the Choice Specs, Acid Barrage, Dark Pulse, Expanding Force, Psyshock, with the Wheezing Galarian form, Fluttermane, with the Photosynthesis, Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast, Shadow Ball, Wheezing Galar with the Citrus Berry, Taunt, Toxic Spikes, trying to rack up that damage there. Urshifu Rapid Strike with the Choice Scarf, Indeedee Female being able to set up the tree for this Calyrex, so you can power up these Expanding Forces just as well. And the Trick Room Imprison to fully utilize the speed of your team to be able to dish out as much damage as possible and trying to obstruct Elias going for anything like Trick Room, because Elias does have a heavy Trick Room team, because Calyrex Ice Rider, Ursaluna, Blood Moon, 2 Pokemon that prefer to be in the Trick Room, or having an option really for speed control or anything. Urshifu Single Strike, it is the Choice Band, Dark, Urshifu Single Strike, Ogerpon, Heart Flame, with, of course, the standard set with Follow Me, Spiky Shield, Indeedee Female being able to redirect with the Terra-type Dragon as well. Also, Trick Room as well, another Trick Room Pokemon being able to potentially use. And then last but not least, we have Smeargle being able to fake out, going for Spores, and most of all, Decorate. Decorate is such a scary move. It can go through Protect as well. So if your partner Pokemon protects itself, you can Decorate, and suddenly that partner Pokemon, while protecting, got a +2. So let's take a look at what these players have led. It is Smeargle Calyrex time. Well, it is Indeedee plus the Landorus just as well. Fake Out is still on the board right now for the Smeargle, because Fake Out does happen to work onto this Landorus as long as it stays a flying type. Indeedee, thanks to its Imprison, is able to make sure that there's no Trick Room being set in that regard, but are making sure or not if you are getting hit by this powerful Glacial Lance, because I don't think very strong Glacial Lance, trying to get as much damage as possible, and possibly even a Spore from the Smeargle, because Follow Me isn't also either guaranteed, but it is a nice option to have. Peek Out, Decorate, Follow Me, Spore. Those are the options that Smeargle has, and it is looking like it is going to be a turn 1 Para. It is the Para onto the Landorus Incarnate, going for that Ghost typing. It will no longer be 4 times weak to Glacial Lance. It will still take quite a bit of damage, but now with its option in hand, we have Calyrex going for the turn, trying to make sure that it's here for at least 1 turn. At Smeargle, now able to move. Sandsear Storm is the move of choice here for this. Incarnate hits as well Smeargle onto its Sash. Smeargle now still has potential to move here. Indeedee is locking itself into that Imprison. So no other Pokemon can use any moves that Indeedee shares with. Smeargle going for into that Indeedee slot and making sure that at the very least is gone. Now, with that done, that does mean that the Indeedee, as long as it stays up tilt, it will have that Imprison, but it will not be very useful, as it will not be able to Helping Hand, it will not be able to Follow Me either. While the Indeedee takes his first mandatory turn of sleep, we have Sandsear Storm and Landorus going into these Pokemon. Smeargle just being down, not missing a single target. That is something you will like to see when you're playing Landorus Incarnate. And now Glacial Lance and Calyrex going into both of these Pokemon, and quite a bit of damage, and looking like a 2-hit goal at the very least in the next turn. Ursaluna is the Pokemon of choice just as well, which could very well prove to be very useful, as it is a decently bulky Pokemon, being able to survive any moves here really from these Pokemon. Now Indeedee could wake up now because it's taken its first mandatory turn of sleep, but that is all dependent on a bit of luck. Indeedee is, however, still deciding to take another turn of sleep, while the Calyrex is going for the Protect. Maximize these turns, as now Nerve Power could prove to be useful, but Landorus going for the Sandsear Storm again into the Protect. Is it hitting the bear? It is hitting the bear. It is not killing the bear. That means Bear can now move, and Bear will go for the Hyper Force and will be able to KO, get a double KO. Very nice option there, because with that, you are making sure that your Calyrex still has enough HP for maybe in the later parts of the game. But now as well, you do have Platoon back as an option potentially. Barcelona has taken quite a bit of damage as well, unfortunately, thanks to the sensitive storm spam. It is able to make sure that it is able to resist anything that Calyrex Shadow Rider it likes to click Acid Barrage. But as long as Urshifu is right next to it, it is looking a little bit more tough right now, as Acid Barrage will kill the Calyrex, won't hit Acid right now. But Elias still has a Terra option, still has full switch out as well. It is just looking very rough. Of course, Apollo has to decide if he's gonna double up or just go for the onto the Arsenal Blood Moon. It's not an easy task at all. There's still the option as well to just go for Dark Force, go for Expanding Force. That is also a very viable option. As a spread move, and we have the Terra Water actually from the Calyrex Ice Rider, trying to make sure that at least Surging Strikes is not going to do as much damage. It's close combat from the Urshifu into the Calyrex, do a lot of damage, and that is definitely range for any move that Calyrex Shadow Rider might be going for. But if it's going to be, it is going to be that Expanding Force, and that is picking up the double KO. So that means that Elias only has one Pokemon left, and he has to deal with a Calyrex Shadow Rider that is now a +2. And there's one Pokemon that could prove useful, which is Urshifu Single Strike, which is able to ignore this Calyrex right now. But the other issue is, unfortunately, the Urshifu's Rapid Strike is locked into close combat, and it is able to just keep putting close combat. Maybe if the Urshifu is able to survive close combat from its brother there, it could be very well useful, but nope. Yummer, as they would say. That is a full-on KO there. Very well played there. The Imprison really proving to be very effective against a team that is very reliant on that Trick Room. So let's take a look at what the possible adaptations could be. These players, honestly, Polo really relying on those Sincere Storms. I'll be very real. Like, if Sincere Storm is, of course, a very strong move, don't get me wrong, but chances of missing could prove to be very fatal, because if any of those Sincere Storms missed, that game would have been turned on its head there. So, not bad plays at all, but it is something that you're risking with. Like, I don't know if Apollo is going to be able to do that a second time just like that. As Elias has to maybe find a way to adapt, or maybe even think of like what target to try and go for Spore, because the Spore went into the Indeedee. If the Indeedee was slower, so you could put Spore before you could Imprison. But now you have the info at hand that the Indeedee is faster than your Smeargle. So with that being said, that gives you plenty of information that or that target might not have worked out there. So let's take a look at the adaptations from these players. I do feel that Elias might just adapt with just a differently targeted Spore. So let's take a look. There's Barcelona and the Calyrex right now versus Indeedee and Fluttermane. Fluttermane having Dazzly, Moonblast, Shadow Ball right now. So this Barcelona not really minding position. Like, this could very well be time for double spread attacks to be able to deal as much damage as possible to either of these Pokemon. If you have Imprison, there's a second layer of play where you don't click Imprison, but instead go for like something like Helping Hand to deal as much damage as possible to so the Fluttermane can deal as much damage as it can. But it is still broken zone. But with that being said, that is of course a next level line of play where clicking Imprison or not Imprison could very well prove to be the way to go or the way not to go with this. Having looked in, we do have that Terra going out immediately. It is going to be that Terra Fairy onto Fluttermane. Fluttermane going for its typing, making sure that it is going to hit something for very good damage, as Fluttermane is one of the most fearful Pokemon we have. It's strong, it's fast, it is good support, and Elias has opted to Terra just as well, which is going to be onto the Calyrex, making sure that it's not going to get hit by any sort of Shadow Balls, Helping Hand, or anything of the like. So, with that being said, I do think there might be a double attack coming in. We do have the Fluttermane going for the Dazzling Gleam into both of these targets. It is, of course, Terra Fairy, so it's doing a bit more damage, but both of these Pokemon very bulky, as Indeedee is imprisoning, so not even risking that the possible Pokemon might go up. Blood Moon into the Indeedee is an upper kill. That means if this next the Elias is going for that Trick Room, that does mean that the Trick Room will be set up, however, and it is that Trick Room. Elias relying onto that play, and very well played there. Having that Trick Room, and that with two of the biggest threats onto the field. Something Apollo has to deal with this while his team is very heavily relying onto this Indeedee as well. Urshifu itself is the Pokemon of choice being switched in. It does resist Glacial Lance, but it's still being very rough, this position for Apollo here. Once you're in Trick Room, like Apollo's main way to deal with Trick Room is avoid Trick Room, but once you're in Trick Room, there doesn't seem to be a lot of plans left to do. So with that being said, looking at the options, it is rather dire, I feel, for Apollo, but like you can still find out a lot of information. We see the Hyper Voice doing 50% to the Fluttermane as well. Fluttermane has 135 base special defensive, very weak defenses, as that is just a double kill. Critical hit on the Fluttermane as well. I don't think it matters. No, you know what? I'll see it. I don't think it matters. But now, very well played by Elias, just choosing to target that Indeedee immediately. So Apollo might adapt now again and going for the Urshifu Rapid Strike, for example, to just being able to close combat into that Blood Moon. So Elias working very well with his speed tiers here. Calyrex Shadow is the Pokemon of choice. Has to lock itself into a move, not really having a lot of options. Expanding Force is one thing, but as Elias is at +2 and there's a bear in Trick Room, this is looking very hard. So that was game 2. What is the next adaptation? I honestly believe that what I mentioned earlier with imprisoned thoughtful play, like I do think that Urshifu plus Indeedee could be elite, but like you need to lead Indeedee. That's always the slot that has to be there, just solely because you can imprison. The other option that you have is potentially Weezing Galarum, being able to taunt, but it's still not one of the greatest options in that regard. It is very good defensively, like you have Dazzling, you have Toxic Spikes, but Elias' team does not tend to switch a lot, so Weezing not really the most useful of Pokemon right here. So, with that being said, now that we know that how the speed tiers were with the Ursula being faster than the Calyrex Ice, it's also really smart that the out of Trick Room, like Ursula and Bloodmoon can just go for Hyper Voice, and Calyrex Ice follows it up and KOs and gets a boost. While a lot of times you see like it going the other way around, so Elias' team with the Ursula and Bloodmoon being faster, it's working out quite nicely for him right now. Apollo also not really having a lot of options to KO this Ursula in one hit. Urshifu Rapid Strike comes to mind with close combat, close combat or even surging strikes, because you have to fear this Ursula Bloodmoon, who can go for Terra Poison of all things. Terra Poison makes you resist Fluttermane, makes you resist the Urshifu. You are no longer a normal type at the very least, so maybe not being able to do all that much damage. So this is game 3. It is time to lock in. Support Grandma in the back. We have Calyrex and Urshifu Don't lead from Elias. And it is going to be, it is going to be Indeed plus Calyrex Shadow Rider. So, option-wise, Expanding Force is off the board. Dark Pulse, potentially. Astral Barrage hits both of them, but the Urshifu is able to Wicked Blow anything to as Indeed has that option to yet again go for Imprison, but it's very hard call to make here. So Apollo has to really decide what to do, because like one thing that can't happen is Trick Room being set up. Trick Room being set up means the end. Because Apollo has no real way to deal with it unless his Indeed is able to survive everything really, and being able to reverse the Trick Room, which is not the easiest thing to do. So you can see Apollo thinking about what the options are, and is going for that Imprison. Trying to make sure for a third time that Imprison is the play. But the Calyrex Shadow is being the one staying safe. It's not the one being safe, because a Wicked Blow will definitely 100% kill this Calyrex Shadow Rider itself. Calyrex is going for the Protect, trying to scout out here. Urshifu is a Choice Band version. We can Protect. We have Astral Barrage coming out right now. Let's see how much a Choice Spec Astral Barrage does to an Urshifu. It will take quite a bit of damage. About 50%, still a lot. And the Wicked Blow going into that Calyrex, and that Calyrex is suddenly immediately gone. A critical hit on top, that's crazy. A critical hit on top, that's crazy. But yeah, and while Indeed has gone again for that Imprison play, it is not really working out in the best way right now. As now the Calyrex is still able to freely go for some, honestly, just go for some moves here, as it doesn't really need the Trick Room anymore, because Pokémon is not able to damage it all that much, as long as that Ice Rider is going for that Terra Water as well. So considering all the options, it's rough. I'll say that at the very least. I think that's really the only option that Pokémon really has right now. And then you just, because Indeed does not have an attacking move, it is kind of locked into Helping Hand or even clicking Trick Room itself, but clicking Trick Room itself isn't definitely not the play right now. As long as Calyrex has a spread move, you don't need to follow me either. And Elias has options to switch out as well. It is going to be that Terra, as we said earlier. We do have Urshifu potentially with Terra Dark, but seeing that there's a Florida main on the field with Psychic Terrain, I don't think we're seeing that, as it is going to be that Calyrex Ice Rider being able to be sure to take a potential Shadow Ball, still Helping Hand from the Indeedee, like clap, clap, clappity clap, and making sure that his Ice Game deals as much damage as possible. Calyrex been able to take that so well, and now the Calyrex is the next one to move, while Elias still has 2 more Pokemon in the back. Glacial Lance and going to do a lot of damage, as we saw earlier. It is just a KO on a Fluttermane. That Fluttermane has no amount of bulk apparently, just goes down. While this Calyrex gets an attack rate, is making sure that whatever Pokemon comes in, this Indeedee will be KO'd here. There's only one more Pokemon, there's another Pokemon on Apollo's side, which is the only damage dealer. And Smurgle is the other choice, and Smurgle is able to perfectly follow me, while this Calyrex is just able to keep clicking Glacial Lance. No need for Trick Room right now. This is looking like a very good positioning board state-wise for the Calyrex. So we have the Helping Hand from the Indeedee onto the Urshifu. There's close combat from the Urshifu. No Follow Me actually coming out. Calyrex surviving still. No matter. It is time for that powerful Glacial Lance, and that will be the end of the Indeedee. And Smurgle will be able to Spore just as well, making sure that deals with it as well. And yeah, Urshifu still has to take a mandatory turn, but that does mean that Elias is confirmed for our top 4, I believe. We will be finding that out quite soon. Smurgle for the Spore, and that is a game. Well played by both these players. Well played.